High Limit heads to Kentucky this weekend and Fremont on Monday. We hear from drivers in preparation for Eldora's Kings Royal Week, and we recap what happened during this dirt racing weekend on today's episode of the High Limit Room. I'm Chase Rodman, the announcer for High Limit Racing. Later in the show, we will be joined by TLP and Brian Walker to discuss all sorts of topics. But the first thing we want to take a look at is a little race preview for the doubleheader coming up this weekend at the Florence Speedway in Kentucky, as well as the Fremont Speedway in Ohio. First off, we will talk about Florence, which is going to be taking place on July 11th and 12th, Friday and Saturday, down there in Union, Kentucky. And one of the fun things about being a part of High Limit Racing in these first two seasons is being able to go to so many different racetracks that maybe haven't seen a Wing 410 sprint car race before, maybe haven't seen Wing 410s in a long time, or like I said, maybe ever. The part that, this kind of entails for Florence Speedway is they haven't seen them very much here over the last 20 years or so. There was a Fast on Dirt Series race there last season, but before that, it was the All-Star Circuit of Champions in 2002, the last time there was a Wing 410 sprint car race there at the Florence Speedway. So, with that being said, this will be just the 7th ever 410 Wing sprint car race in the history of this racetrack that has been around since 1955. We mentioned it earlier. The fast race in 2024 was won by Cole Duncan, and the last time there was 410s was 2002 with the All-Stars, and that was when Shane Stewart was able to get the win. As far as the full-time high rollers go, only one of them has been to the track before, and that is Race Redeemed Foundation contender Danny Sams III, who led a majority of that Fast on Dirt feature from last year before Cole Duncan eventually went to victory lane. Danny Sams ended up in second. And it's just another unknown for almost all of our drivers that are full-time with the series. Obviously, we have 14 of them, so 13 of them have never been there before. Maybe haven't even seen the track before. Maybe there's only one or two videos out there on YouTube. So really not a whole lot of things for these guys to watch and get prepared for the 2 nights coming up here at Florence, which, according to their website, is a half-mile dirt track. But, maybe they've watched some racing with the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. They go there every single year for the 75,000 to win North-South 100, which is one of the bigger races of the year when it comes to late model stock cars on the dirt. And so 75 grand to win, that's obviously a pretty good payday, but the North-South 100 is a big race that takes place every year at Florence, and they always seem to get the racetrack in really, really good shape. That Fast on Dirt race last year was just spectacular stuff. The right rears were right up against the wall. You had a bottom to kind of slow roll around. It was super, super wide in the corners. And so from what I have seen in the videos that I've watched, I think Florence could definitely produce a really, really good show this weekend for High Limit Racing. The track record was established by Danny Sams III last year. He clocked in a 13.453 second lap time, and so we'll see if we can maybe establish a new track record on Friday and Saturday over there for the Kentucky Sprint Nationals. Now, Friday night's main event will pay $10,000 to win, with the winner's share on Saturday jumping up to $20,000 to win. So a pretty good payday on Saturday for the full-time drivers with High Limit Racing. Tickets are available online right now at highlimitracing.com. If you cannot be there, make sure to watch live on FloRacing.com. Now, just 2 days after the finale of the Kentucky Sprint Nationals, the High Rollers will roll into Fremont Speedway in Ohio for round number 7 of the Roto-Rooter Midweek Series. And remember, this is a makeup race. This was rained out earlier on this year, back in May. And luckily, everybody involved with High Limit, all the officials and Rich Farmer from Fremont, were able to find a date that was suitable. And this date just so happens to be on the same week as the Kings Royal. And so it is a jam-packed week of sprint car racing for Ohio fans and Ohio drivers. 6 straight nights actually, as we go over to Fremont, then Attica, then 4 straight nights at Eldora Speedway. It is going to be fantastic, and this race has the potential to be one of the highest car counts, if not the highest car count that we've had so far this season with High Limit Racing, with the Ohio contingent going to be there, some Central PA drivers are going to be there, and there have even been some rumors that we could see a couple of World of Outlaws drivers showing up to this race as well. They are racing the next night at Attica Raceway Park in Ohio, so So certainly could maybe see a couple of those guys show up to Fremont, which isn't too far down the road. We'll have to wait and see who is able to show up for that one. Now, Fremont does run on a relatively regular basis with a very strong group of regulars, and this could certainly be a track where we see a big upset winners. As far as the full-timers go with High Limit, though, a lot of them do have some experience at this quarter-mile racetrack, but only a few of them have been able to visit Victory Lane. Tyler Courtney and Aaron Reitzel are the two drivers that have won here. They did that with the All-Star Circuit of Champions in years previous. The rest of the high rollers have not been able to get a win at the Fremont Speedway. Now, Chase Randall and Brenham Crouch, those are the only two drivers that are full-time with the series that have never been to that racetrack. But all in all, we would not be surprised to see if there was 50 cars in the pit area for this race on a Monday night. And man, what more can you ask for? 50 cars on a quarter mile on a Monday night. That is going to be can't miss television there here on FloRacing. Darren Nida, Cap Henry, Casey Jedrazek, Caleb Henry are just a couple of drivers who have been able to win a race this year at Fremont Speedway. And we do expect all four of those drivers, along with many more, to be in the field next week. Kyle Larson is also going to be in the field. He'll make his first Fremont Speedway start since 2013. Then Corey Day, he'll also be there as well. It'll be his Fremont Speedway debut. And we will finally see the High Limit Racing return of James McFadden as he will be there in the Tarleton Racing number 21. It'll be great to have J-Mac back with us for a couple of races to end out the season with Kubota High Limit Racing. Tickets once again available online at highlimitracing.com. Now, after that race at Fremont Speedway, the high rollers, all the Outlaw guys, a big group of PA drivers, Ohio guys, people from all over the country are going to be showing up for the King's Royal and the Joker's Jackpot. This is one of the very few weeks out of the year where all drivers come together. You get the best of the best on the same track on the same night for multiple days in a row. We were able to catch up with many of those drivers and find out what they thought about meeting back up at Eldora Speedway.
High Limit's raising the bar, the Outlaws are raising the bar, and we need to do that on the racetrack as well.
It has absolutely been raising the stakes in sprint car racing. It's grown the sport. Both national series are bigger because of High Limit racing, and I can't believe how fast High Limit racing has grown and how many people ask about it today compared to 1 year ago. Yeah, I just think they're gonna keep pushing each other and keep growing together.
You go to the races where all the High Limit drivers and all the World of Outlaw drivers are racing at. There's certainly a little bit of bragging rights on the line, but as competitors, I think we're just trying to win the race, just like we would at any other race. And typically those are the biggest races of the year. So the Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royals, those events have just been staples in our sport, and they're really big. So ultimately, we want High Limit guys to win. I want to be on top, and I think you get judged on how you do at those big races when we're all together. Obviously, we did really well last year, and we're looking forward to the competition again this year.
Off of turn number 4, drag race to the line. It's going to be Justin Peck. Hits the wall across the line and gets the win.
It's definitely a good thing for the entire sport of sprint car racing that we have 2 premier national touring divisions, especially because we do get some crossover. Not only crossover for the events that are sanctioned by World of Outlaws, say the Kings Royal and like National Open and Knoxville Nationals, but they also get to come race with us for Joker's Jackpot, and may the best man win.
Let's go racing off at turn number 4. We are green. Joker's Jackpot underway. Gravel rolls the bottom. Selzy up on the high side, coming to the start-finish line. Gravel's right there. Selzy leads, but Gravel's a car length behind. David Gravel. Into the wall and upside down. Through 3 and off of 4. David Gravel is going to hit the jackpot tonight at Eldora Speedway.
Yeah, we want to come and take Kyle and Brad's money for sure. It's part of the fun. It's part of the rivalry. Not that I hate or love Kyle or Brad, but they're friends of mine. But they're having a competing series in a series that I'm in, so it's just part of the fun. It's like playoff sports, right? Like you want to beat your other competitor, and that's all it is. It's part of the fun, and we're all competitive people, and we're all going to lay it out on the line.
sure it'd be nice to swoop in and take some high limit money, and I know they like doing that when they come to outlaw races. So it's part of it, makes the sport fun. I think the fans enjoy it too.
It's very healthy, and I'm happy to be a part of it right now. And but it would be cool to, get a win with high limit again, but also maybe check one off for the Outlaws.
You're racing at Eldora for 100,000 one night and 175 the next. There's nothing holding you back.
You're going to have high limits versus World of Outlaws that week. Competition level is going to be really high. Everybody wants to obviously beat one another, so it's going to be pretty cool to see who comes out on top, and hopefully it's us.
Third segment of the show. We are joined now by social media with High Limit, Brian Walker, and the pit reporter with the series, that is Tony Laporta. Guys, we are all back home. Tony, I did see your Snapchat the other day, and of course your Twitter post as well. Did you catch anything fishing the other day?
I did. I caught a beautiful smallmouth bass in the Sugar Creek that flows smoothly and calmly through western Indiana. It was a beautiful day, and I believe people should go outside.
I wanted to reply to that. It literally just said go outside, right?
Yep.
I wanted to reply and say touch grass.
I was in the river. There was no grass to be touched. It was just stones and smooth flowing water around my legs.
Tony's using a lot of adjectives today to describe the things that are going on outside around his home.
I wish you would have used a noun when you introduced Brian. You just called him social media with High Limit.
Well, I tried to use nouns before in our earlier shows, and I was crucified for it, and the nicknames were not working, so we had to just back it down a little bit. So Brian Walker, just a social media guy, but did want to get into the third segment of the show here, guys. We've got some racing coming up after having a weekend off. We're racing the Florence Speedway down in Union, Kentucky on Friday and Saturday, and then going over to the Fremont Speedway as well in Ohio. If you would like to, we usually talk in this segment about some of the best bets you can maybe wager on. nxtbets.com/playhlr. That is the place to do it. If you go on there, you can get a sign-up bonus, and you can also see which sports books are available in your region. Now, Brian, for Florence, it's a little bit weird because really only one driver that is full-time with the series has been there before, and that is Danny Sams III. So everybody else out of the full-time drivers have never been there. It's one of those wild cards, and it's one of the fun things about being on this high limit racing tour is we're going to all these tracks that are kind of unknowns. So really, it's hard to maybe give the people watching at home a good bet to put some money on for this weekend because there's just really not much we don't really know much.
Yeah, I mean, you can expect the good guys to be good, right? I think more than anything, you can't predict maybe the surprise, who's the best value pick, I would think is going to be the hard one to choose. But I say that, but Danny Sams probably would be it because Danny Sams is the one guy that's been there. So obviously I think it's actually probably an easy one. Actually, if you go back and look at that race though, I feel like you might be able to get a good idea of who's going to be good with how slick it got. Slick to a nice little curb on the wall. Rico, Tyler, Brad, Aaron, I feel like have got to shine come Florence this weekend.
Yeah, certainly a couple of guys to watch for in that one. You mentioned the race. Last year, the Fast on Dirt Series had an event there, and it was the first 410 sprint car race there with the wing on top since 2002 when the All-Stars went there. And it was a hell of a show. A great battle between Cole Duncan and the aforementioned Danny Sams III. I don't know if Duncan's going to be on the list for us this week, and I hope he does show up. A couple guys we do know that will be there. Nate Dussel, Bobby Elliott, Sterling Kling, Justin Clark, just to name a few that are not full-time with the series. But Tony, that race last year, that gets me a little bit excited coming into this weekend for a $20,000 win payday for the Kentucky Sprint Nationals on Saturday.
Well, I like that. I like when you're excited.
I know.
All right, that sounded weird. The highlights, or not even the highlight, the full race replay from that Fast event last year made the track look really racy, really fun. My first look at Florence, so I'm really excited. Got some banking to it. Looks like everybody carries some good speed around the place. And yeah, like Brian said, when it's prepared right, gets really wide. And that's what we love about 410 wing sprint car racing. So Danny Sams might have a little bit of knowledge rolling in there over a lot of the other competitors he'll face off against this weekend. But 2 nights there, really looking forward to that, considering we didn't get to go race at Florence last season in 2024 due to, I think it was just weather, really, really heavy rains hitting the area last fall when we were supposed to be down in Kentucky. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward. You hit the nail on the head. It's all about going to new places. Kubota High Limit Racing does not just go to the same tracks year after year after year, letting guys build a big notebook and not spreading the sport around to new fans. So I'm very much excited about getting out there. Hope the track is like what they had at the Fast event last summer.
Yeah, and you mentioned...
You guys probably...
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
You guys probably haven't seen it much because it's always the weekend of Knoxville Nationals, but Lucas Oil Late Models always has the North-South 100 there at Florence, and it is one of my favorite late model weekends to go back and like watch on Flow. They always have the track dialed, and the fans there are really rabid.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is the North-South 100. I know that's, I've personally never watched it.
It's a big deal.
I've heard a lot about it, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it. I'm not much of a late model guy, but I have heard that is a big event. And Tony mentioned the new fans because, that is a late model area. I think that there's going to be late models on the card with us for the 2 nights over there, for our races. And so, it's going to be interesting to see how many people come out to watch a National Touring Wing 410 Sprint Car Series coming there for the first time. They are a late model crowd, but I hope that we can put on a show for them, Tony, and maybe make some new fans out of some sprint car people, or maybe some out of some late model people over there.
Well, you know what they say, Chase? Strangers are just friends that you haven't met yet.
Yep, that's true. They do say that. I don't know who was quoted as saying that, but maybe it was Dr. Seuss.
But late model race fans are just sprint car fans who haven't had a great opportunity to see some high caliber, world class 410.
Yeah, pushing.
Yeah, exactly. Pushing flips. Listen, I'm not going to act like having onboard starters isn't a nice thing, but when you have the horsepower and the lightweight attributes that a wing sprint car does, you're okay with giving up some of that. So, let's put on a great show in front of the late model crowd. It was cool when High Limit kind of gambled, #gambling, last spring, and the series went down to South Georgia. Man, talk about late model country down there when the series ran its second weekend of 2024, and it was nice to have the crowd show up. We had the Lucas Oil late models on the card both nights out of the 3-night weekend, and it was a lot of fun. So. It'll be exciting to get to a new place, put on a great show in front of some new fans, and maybe leave with some new friends, Chase. You never know.
Yeah, it'll be the push and flips and the start and spins on the card Friday and Saturday over at Florence Speedway. And then on Monday, we take one night off and go and head up back over to Fremont, Ohio to make our trip in there after a rainout earlier on this year. I believe it was in May when it was originally scheduled. But everybody over there, Rich Farmer and High Limit Racing officials, able to work out a rescheduled date, which makes it now into a very busy week in Ohio. Obviously, Fremont Monday, the Outlaws are at Attica, and then us 2 nights at Eldora, and the Outlaws 2 nights at Eldora as well. So if you're an Ohio fan, this is a week that I'm sure you've been looking forward to, and with this reschedule is going to make it even more exciting. But I have never been to Fremont before. I did go to the track on the night of the rainout, checked it out. It does, and I've seen a lot of video, of course, there, Brian, but looking forward to getting over there. It's going to be a massive field. I wouldn't be surprised if this was maybe one of the biggest car counts we've had all season long, and could be a pretty big shakeup in the point standings with how close things are and having that many cars showing up. The Fremont locals are very tough there.
I can't believe you've never been there. How far do you live?
Not far. It's like 45 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I think if you really think about it, the last time we went to a track that was really a wild card was probably 141, because we went to Eagle and Lucas Oil after that. Many of our guys are very familiar there. And 141 is the place where we left that night, and I walked in Command Center and I said, oh my God, our points battle is insane, because that was when we had 5 within 16 points. Because Brad and Sunshine had bad nights. Reitzel got up there. So I fully expect probably something similar to happen, or it can happen at least at Florence this weekend. What are we right now? We have 5 within 47. So it's still pretty close, and it's probably likely to get even closer.
Yeah, it certainly is. And when we head to Fremont, you obviously can't count out guys like Cap Henry and Caleb Henry. Those are probably the two main guys that you look at when you head into that racetrack. Caleb Henry, the defending champion over there at Fremont. Cap Henry, the most recent winner at that track as well. And then we know that there's going to be some guys showing up here to this race, Tony, to get ready for the Kings Royal. I was texting with Drew Warner earlier on. We know that James McFadden's going to be there. Kyle Larson will be making his return to Fremont for the first time since 2013. I believe Corey Day will be making his debut at that track as well. And then I heard that Danny Dietrich's going to be there, and I maybe even heard that a couple Outlaw guys could be showing up to Fremont as well. So it is going to be a stacked field, and it should be fun.
Well, as Chase Rodman from 2 years ago would say, that's big.
That is big.
And the field at Fremont surely will be big. I'm like you, Chase. I've also never attended a race at Fremont, but I can't believe I didn't see you the night of the rain out when we ended up not racing. I was also there walking around Fremont, and Rich Farmer, Zane Scott, they opened up the museum, the Hall of Fame there just behind the front stretch grandstands. I got to sit down and do a short interview with Zane Scott, and then Rich Farmer and I sat down on camera and talked about the museum and the Hall of Fame. And I got a brief look at the racetrack, and man, I'm excited. I am really looking forward to that weekend. I don't know, would you classify that's a fairground, right? That track sits on?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I love fairground racetracks. I loved them when we went around with USAC. I love any time you can put a racetrack on a fairgrounds. I always think they put on a good show. And even if it's not the best race in the world, it's still a fun atmosphere, and you're getting out. You're at the fair, right? Whether the fair's going on or not. So I'm really looking forward to Fremont. Yeah, Cap Henry. I'm just looking at the previous results from the most recent Attica Fremont Championship race. Cap Henry, Zeth Sabo, Chris Andrews, Bryce Lucius, stacked field of locals and Ohio cars that race out there. And to get ready for a huge week of sprint car racing in Ohio, I'm looking forward to that. I don't even know, Chase, you said Ohio sprint car fans. If you're an Ohio fan, you're looking forward to this week. Brother, you don't even have to be an Ohio fan. You could be coming from Indiana. You could be coming from Pennsylvania. Like some of the drivers you just mentioned, you could come down from Wisconsin, over from the west, up from the south. This upcoming week in Ohio is going to be huge for sprint car racing. And, of course, we're going to have our big Joker's Jackpot on Fox Sports 1 Thursday night that I know a lot of people are talking about and looking forward to. Do you have your tie that you're going to wear on camera for the Fox Sports 1 broadcast picked out yet, Chase? What color's the tie?
No, I still got to go to Men's Warehouse and find that one. I'm looking for an expensive one because it's, one night only, one night stand. So got to be looking good for it over there at Eldora Speedway. Looking forward to that already. And to close things out on Fremont, Brian, when we look at NXTBets.com, that could be a place, Fremont, where you throw $5 at maybe a Trey Jacobs or a Cap or a Caleb Henry or a Zane DeVault or a Zeth Sabo or something like that. I have a good feeling that we could see a long shot get the win over at Fremont. I'm sure there's going to be a couple of people that are in the know of Ohio sprint car race and maybe spreading their money down the line a little bit when it comes to the outright winners.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing will be, especially at a place like Fremont, will the winner have odds? I mean, Travis Aarons didn't at 141, so we could have another situation where that happens. So, I mean, yeah, you're just going to have to keep your eyes on what the odds are when they come out.
Yeah, we'll see what transpires over there. Now let's get into some of the things that took place over the week we haven't been on, obviously, since last Tuesday. But something that did happen that was just absolutely craziness was the BC39 over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the infield. And Tony is ripping and roaring ready to talk about this. I tweeted it. The European mind cannot handle midgets at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I tweeted that on the first night, and then the tweet actually went and got back going again on the second night because it was just complete chaos with every race that was on the track. I don't even remember who won. Ken McIntosh won from like 19th place or something, Tony. It was wild.
Midgets are amazing when they can stay green. Okay, I know our group chat.
Yeah.
I think Anthony was in there. Somebody was, was just, begging them to stay green and not wreck every 3.5 laps or whatever it was. USAC National Midgets are the show. They are so much fun to watch. And talk about a tale of two different tracks, right? From, what was it, Monday and Tuesday night? Monday night was really rough, kind of cowboy up, you could say. And then Tuesday, much more smooth, much more even, much more, just kind of put your car anywhere you want racetrack. And man, Justin Grant, dude. I mean, kind of these days, sort of. He's not old, but he's kind of the veteran of the midget ranks these days, and just was having great battles with any young challenger that came up and gave him a run for his money up at the front. His night ended up obviously not the way he wanted, and for Cannon McIntosh, to start way outside the top 10 and charge through for the win. But it didn't matter who won. The midgets were awesome. That track is phenomenal. That's got to be one of, if not the premier midget track in the country for midget race cars. And then you stuff it inside the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I don't need to tell you, Chase, how amazing that place is. The BC39 is just it's made for TV. It's made for the top step of the podium. It's made for the gold medal. It's made for whatever you want. I can't believe, Brian, you weren't climbing the fence each night at the end of the BC39. Jake Ingram came and stayed with me. He had his Wikipedia shirt on after night one of the BC39. So there was representation of your brand at the BC39.
Lauren Kelly was wearing it too at the BC39. The IRA announcer. Shout out IRA.
Chase Rodman was wearing his Wikipedia shirt just mowing the grass the other day, I heard.
Hey, by the way, Chase, 2-time Chili Bowl A-Main starter Tom Harris did not agree with you that the European mind could not comprehend what was going on.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about Tom Harris.
Yeah. He replied to it. You didn't.
He did? Did he?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah, I got to find it.
Oh, Brian, when you're as big time as Chase Rodman, you don't see all your replies. You don't get all the information in. It's only verified accounts that Chase sees these days who interact with him.
I'm looking right now. Oh, it wasn't Tom Harris. It was Wout Hoffmans.
Oh, was it Wout?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I did
Tom
see
Harris
that.
would agree with Wout, though.
He would. I'm sure he would. But yeah, Wout Hoffmans, I don't know what he's doing these days, but haven't seen him in a sprint car for a while. But yeah, BC39, just incredible television. If you missed that, then shame on you. That is something I need to get checked off the bucket list here over the next couple of years. Now, also, Tony, what was going on? I see you pointing at me. Also, what was going on was the PA Speed Week, and several races were on FloRacing, the race at Lincoln and the races at Port Royal. And Brian, the Port Royal race, the first one, a lot of drama in that one between Anthony Macri.
It was pretty low key.
Oh God, it was like the talk of the town. Even like 4 days later, the Macri and Dietrich running out of gas, Kyle Larson spinning out, coming back to second. I thought for a second there that Larson was going to spin out and come all the way back through and win, but Macri's able to hold him off. But the Pennsylvania drama has been strong in 2025.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think more than forever, really. It's not just 2025. That's a place that you can always count on to provide entertainment in sprint car racing one way or another. So, I mean, really, it's up to par. It's nothing that shocking. It's just, it's very entertaining nonetheless. I was on Facebook 10 minutes after that thing went checkered, and it was already going berserk. It was definitely interesting. It was fun to watch, regardless. I mean, it was very entertaining. I don't think I can say I think Kyle would have won. He was passing Macri, but he was obviously out of gas, and then the caution falls for someone that's not Macri. I don't even know what was going to happen. More than anything, like the second Port Royal, I know the first one was maybe drama, but the second one was just good racing. The one with Deweese and Macri, that one was awesome to watch. It has me really excited to get back for the Tusky.
Yeah,
Hopefully we don't have any fuel drama.
Yeah, that was the next thing on my list here was Lance Deweese, Tony. He has still got it. I don't know how old he is, but I mean, he's no young buck, and still able to hold off the challenges of Macri and everybody else to win the Greg Hodnet Memorial, Greg Hodnet Classic. I can't remember the name of the exact race, but the Greg Hodnet race paid well, and obviously Deweese and Hodnet knew each other very well. But it was just so awesome to see Deweese get the win. And when he came down the front stretch with a huge lead, it didn't matter. The fans didn't care. It wasn't a photo finish. They were on their feet and cheering for Deweese when he came across the line. That was so cool.
It's so funny that we're talking about this. Obviously, it's topical, right? Because, yeah, as you said, PA Speed Week's, just been taking place and wrapping up. But last night, I was bored and I wanted to kill some time and enjoy the time that I did have to kill. So I fired up Dirt Season 2, A Year with High Limit, and I clicked on to the episode number 3. if I remember the order right, and it's when High Limit comes back from the West Coast and goes to Port Royal for the Tuscarora. And Lance, they get a bunch of screen time with Lance DeWeese and Danny Dietrich and Anthony Macri. But between your commentary with Earl Hoon Jr.'s and then just interviews and sound bites from other people, man, Lance DeWeese, obviously, it doesn't matter how old he is. You should never, ever, ever count the guy out. 120 plus victories out there. And, just, I don't know if there's a king of Central Pennsylvania wing sprint car racing, but Lance is definitely royalty, right? So, super cool, more than anything, to just see him out there still contending, and then to go out there and get a big lucrative victory like the one that he did. You should never count out Lance DeWeese at Port Royal. You definitely shouldn't count him out in Pennsylvania. It was great to see, and I feel like this might be going out on a limb, but I feel like as far as Pennsylvania fans go, there were a lot of people, I felt like, that were happy to see him get that victory. Of course, the posse sticks with their own drivers and likes to see their guys. Everybody's got their shirt, their hoodie, their hat on in the crowd. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm barking up the wrong tree here and what you guys saw on social media. But I thought the overall mood was that it was a popular victory to see Lance DeWeese get that win. Am I far off on that one, do you think?
No, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. I don't see how he can be upset with a Lance DeWeese victory, especially during a race like the Greg Hodnet Classic. So that was very cool. Congrats to Lance DeWeese, and congrats to Anthony Macri on that PA Speedway Championship. Dietrich with the most wins on the week. He had 2. And the final thing I wanted to get into was the USAC, the Sprintacular over at Lincoln Park Speedway. The first night was, pretty normal stuff. Logan Seavey gets the win. But how about the second night, Brian, with a battle between Carson Garrett and Hayden Reinbold? HR leading some laps there and ends up second in the main event, but Carson Garrett running the Epperson 2E, getting his first ever USAC National Sprint Car win. And that track, it was a really good track, super wide, big curb, Reinbold rolling the bottom, but it's been fun to watch Reinbold here over the last couple of years. You've seen him get better and better and better every year in the midget, now just starting to kind of get his feet wet in the non-wing car, but that was a great race between those two guys, and Carson Garrett, guy that's been trying for so long, finally gets that first ever USAC Sprint Car win.
Yeah, real quick on the track, I believe starting this year, Tommy Estes took it over, and they've done a great job out there. I got to work with Tommy a lot, High Limit's first year when we were midweek only. He was the race director for us for most of the year until Mike came on board. Great guy. I love what he's doing at Lincoln Park. As far as the race goes, damn, I wanted HR to win so bad though. That's he's one of my good buddies. I play golf with him all the time. Him and Seavey went out yesterday and we hit the links. We joke ever since it wasn't on video. I went back and I tried to find it too. At Millstream in the feature, he wrecked big. I don't remember what happened. There's still no video. I don't even know what happened, but all I know is he went big, and ever since, he's literally rattled off the best runs of his career. So something shook him the right way inside his brain, I guess, and he's got it going. So it was awesome to see him run well. I'd love to see him get a first win soon. Cool to see Carson Garrett win after, 4 or 5 years of basically being on the road pretty much full time with USAC. His family deal was out there for a long time. And then to get it done with Tony Epperson is really cool. That's a team that has so much history in Indiana sprint car racing.
Yeah, Reinbold with 2 second-place finishes on the weekend, by the way. Was second to Seavey as well on the Friday night portion over there. So, nice job by Hayden Reinbold. That is awesome. And congrats to Carson Garrett on that first-time win. I think that's all I've got. Tony, did you have anything else you wanted to add to that discussion? I know how much you enjoy USAC sprint car racing as much as I do. Do you have anything to add on to that discussion there?
Well, 2 things. One, it was great to see this just a bow tie on the PA Speed Week thing. Obviously, popular for Lance DeWeese and great racing out in Pennsylvania, as always, right? That's not news to anybody. But did maybe the best thing to come out of PA Speed Week, and I'm open for debate here, but was the best thing to come out of PA Speed Week, I think, in fact, could have been the photograph. And I do not know who took it. I apologize. I always want to give credit where credit's due. Brian knows where I'm going with this. The photograph from an early week drivers meeting with Kyle Larson on his bike, sitting next to a shirtless Tyler Walker next to him, sipping on like a Pepsi, maybe it was a Mountain Dew, something he just grabbed from the concession stand, taking in the pre-race drivers meeting. I thought that was an image that could get hung in the Natural History of Art and Science Museum or something. That was hilarious. And just my one thought on Carson Garrett and the Sprintacular, super cool to see a guy from Colorado come out and like you've been talking about, Brian, kind of hitting it hard for the last couple of years, being a part of the USAC National Tour. For him to come out, be from Colorado, a place that is not known for producing sprint car names, really, in the grand scheme of things, and get that victory. Also, pretty emotional, big deal. I don't know if they talked about it on the broadcast. I don't know what they covered or not. But Carson lost his younger brother, Colton, over the winter. And Colton had been battling some health conditions, and he unfortunately lost those battles over the offseason. And so for Carson to get that win and get to victory lane, something I know was super important to his younger brother, Colton, that was very cool for me to see, not just because he's from Colorado, not just because it was his first win, but for him to come through what has to be the toughest time of his life over the winter, right? Losing his young brother and getting the job done and winning a USAC national feature against a huge field at Putnamville. I just thought that was really cool. I'm very, very happy for Carson Garrett and his family.
Yeah, and he certainly had to earn it there. A lot of yellows late in the race. A couple guys trying to challenge him there for that victory at the end. Did want to correct one thing. Reinbold actually fourth on night two, was second on night one. He was in second for a majority of that race on the second night. But and then the Tyler Walker thing. How Andy Forsberg of him to be at the driver's meeting without a T-shirt on. That was definitely a pretty good photo there. Whoever took that one, nice job. Might be able to sell that someday, as Tony mentioned, in some kind of museum or something. But yeah, that's all we've got here, I believe, from this edition of the High Limit Room. Talk about everything that happened over the weekend in dirt racing. We've got Florence coming up this Friday and Saturday. That is July 11th and 12th. And then on the 14th, we're heading over to Fremont Speedway in Ohio for our next Roto-Rooter Midweek Series event. We hope to see you there. If not, you can watch it live on FloRacing. We'll talk to you guys next week here on the High Limit Room.